up, boys and girls? Welcome to Blister Pack. Wait, no. What is this again?
Bilster Berg.
Bilster Berg.
Right.
That-
Filibuster.
Oh, Martin Edmonds
Filibusterville.
is doing a spinneroonie.
Damn, son.
Yeah.
Didn't know he was talented like that.
He's just setting up for that cool camera angle.
Oh,
Hell yeah.
and he
Whoa,
totally
got
fucked up
the
Fran's
moves.
line.
Ooh, my butthole clenched a little bit there, cowboy.
Martin.
Friend with the moves.
What is this, Martin? If I were Fran, I'd be very displeased with you.
Touchdown Raider Motorsports.
Yikes.
So we got the Enduro series here, the final round of the year. So this race was back in December, not in January when we're doing commentary. We're a little bit behind, but we're trying to sort that out and get the commentaries out to our adoring public, mostly Byron's adoring public.
Yeah, probably. I was sick. There was parties. Mike got sick. There was more parties. Shit around the holidays got a little backed up.
Yep, that's what you get. We're party people.
And I assume by shit you mean videos and not literally shit.
Well, I mean, I didn't really happen to me, but Mike's sick in other ways, so it could be.
No.
All the above.
No, it was definitely videos got lost in the festivities. Why is Christoph coming out of the pits with 30 seconds left in qualifying? Christoph, there's not enough time to get a lap done.
That's quitter talk, and you know it. With me here on the commentary, we have myself and your boy Mick Magass. And Cole Steele, or is it Blue Steel, or I can't. It's Cole McRae Rallycross. Isn't that what that is?
Yeah.
Ooh.
I'll take it.
Here you go.
Going with all.
That was my nickname back in high school.
He does have a highly punnable name.
I look forward to it.
Cole the Fish McRae.
So we've only got 10 cars qualified here. I'm hoping there were more in the race, but Carol Vega, Christopher Streppen, Max Simmons, Clyde Britton, Douglas DeGroot, James Butler, Fran Machuca, Martin Evans, John Barker, and Toby Howard, your top 10.
It has been intimated that this race is exciting.
You
The
say it's been
Enduros usually
intubated?
are.
And that I was trying to actually coax your boy the meal of Stuffington to perhaps he and Travis and I could do it, but nobody's interested because they're all jerks.
Oof.
Or busy. I mean, that's the other thing.
Well, you win some, you lose some.
This pit lane is really weird, I must say.
It's very short, very abrupt.
Well, it's also that they're like two separate garage spots, which is just weird. It's interesting. Definitely unique in Herman Tilke's works of randomness.
True.
I vote that it gets more random. I need at least one loop-de-loop.
Okay, so we had two cars not qualify. We have Mike Stoffmill and Alex Loeffler starting from the back. So here we go. We'll have to see how they make their way through the grid, and we're off. That was
Green flags are waving.
That was a pretty bad start by whoever started from P3 there. I think it was Max Simmons. Did not get off the line very well at all, but still has retained his position, oddly enough.
These are the front-wheel drive Audis, correct?
These are front wheel, I do believe. Yes.
Yeah, I was testing for launch. Ooh, someone's on his two wheels on their side back there. Ooh,
I completely missed that.
That looked terrifying. That might have been Edmonds back there. I saw a car well on their two side wheels. That
was Edmonds. I remember from the report on the stewarding actually that was indeed Edmonds who did that two-wheeler wave to the crowd.
That looked terrifying.
It's penalty for lewdness. No undercarriage, thank you.
Vega leads from Verstappen, Simmons, Britton, and Butler up to 5th place.
Soft-mill already up to 8th.
Mm-hmm. Not so much progress for Alex Loeffler, who is back in 12th place still.
That's true. One thing I noticed about the launch is that some guys appeared to struggle about exactly the same, and I noticed as I was trying to set my test lap in the as per your request, Mike, in the Mid-Ohio circuit does practicing launches, they seem to have revamped the traction control settings quite heavily.
Oh, a ton.
If you have any traction control on a launch, it becomes nearly impossible to get any spin at
I
all.
wouldn't go that far, but what they've done is that, particularly with the GT3 cars that recently got remodeled, everything's default traction control is way higher than it used to be. Like, it used to be 30%, and now it's like 80.
Huh. That's interesting.
Carol Vega losing the lead there. Carol Vega losing the lead to Christopher Streppen. Need to give him Christopher. Max Simmons showing off to the crowd. Anyways, continue, Mr. Cole.
I was just saying I did plenty of experimentation, and maybe I have to do some more because from what I could tell, at least even when I was down to like 10%, it was still giving me big troubles. Although it might just be the lack of torque in the BMW V8.
You were running the Z4 or the M6?
The M6.
The M6 is not a good starter, just kind of like full stop.
Yeah,
So
good point.
it's a bit of a brick.
Probably doesn't help, yeah. Looks like Loeffler has gotten by Howard at the back of the grid there.
Yeah, I think unfortunately
Everyone's
Toby is kind of in a world of his own. He's a little bit slower than everybody else.
I will give him points for trying though. He's definitely got good attendance. I've seen him in mostly every race I've come across here, which is points for effort.
We feel nothing but love for a guy who tries to the level that Toby does. We want to see him succeed, and we're willing to try and make that happen. And Mike Stockmill moving up to 6th place. No! Door closed late there by Fran Machuca, but I think that took Fran out wide, and that is going to let Stockmill through.
Yeah, I think so. These have great grip, but again, being front-wheel drive, those long sweeping curves, they will struggle a slight bit. You got to really pick and choose your apexes.
This is a really interesting track by like modern standards, because of course this is a Herman Tilke designed track, who is the guy who does.
Is this designed by Tilke?
This is designed by Tilke. Yeah.
Wow, it doesn't strike me at all.
It doesn't strike me as it at all. I was very surprised to read that. Of course, it could be that the source I had was incorrect, so may want to fact check this. But I believe there are at least some reports that Tilke did design this track.
Wow. Okay, I did. But it strikes me as odd because.
Or it may have been a redesign. Pardon me, because I do believe this track has been around for a while. It's just recently been redone and kind of modernized and brought to like state-of-the-art levels.
That makes sense.
So it could be that it's so interesting because, when you're redesigning a track, obviously you can't just do whatever you want. Like, there's some constraints based on what is already there.
Absolutely. And while we have seen sort of him kind of take over some historic tracks, Hockenheim is one that comes to mind. This one doesn't. Oh, we got
another one.
According to Wikipedia, that is not the case.
Oh, okay. Hit us up. Give us the lowdown.
Yeah.
I mean, I just did.
There's
a list. I did
There's
a list on Wikipedia. I did a page search, and Bilster Berg does not come up.
All right. Well, okay then.
So, I mean, there you are.
Perhaps
Ooh, Max Simmons having a nice big old slide.
I'll have to go look at where I saw that again, which of course I don't even remember where I saw that. So that's gonna be fun.
Well, I mean, I was ready to take your word for it. I would have been pleasantly surprised. I mean, because when I think of a Tilkedrome, Dakota, Hockenheim, was it?
There were some
Dubai?
really good. There were some really good ones though. Actually, that unfortunately just didn't survive. For lack of a better term.
Yeah, there's actually a specific list. On his list, some of these are color-coded. Jinkai Street Circuit, Bucharest Ring, Valencia Street Circuit, and Lippo Village Reindeer Extravaganza. Lippo Village International Formula Circuit. Although I like that was in Indonesia. Those ones have been abandoned. And
Turkey,
then
I believe, has also been abandoned.
Well, there's some stuff here that was just
recently,
that was not developed at all. Like, I guess, I don't know, maybe they hired him to do a thing and they went like, nah, it's going to cost too much.
Weren't they going to do one in Vietnam at some point?
Yeah, they got the Vietnam Street Race coming up this season in F1. I don't think that's going to be any good, but we'll see.
What a nightmare. Yeah,
Vietnam. Hey,
And to
big
be-
boy.
And to be clear here, I think some of the worst Tilka tracks are not really his fault. They're like he was asked to do something that just really could not be done.
Yeah.
Like the Valencia street circuit's a great example of that. Anytime you hire someone to do a street circuit, it's like, okay, what do I got to work with here? I have nothing. That's what you're trying to tell me.
Yeah. There's
there is only so much you can do on a track, but
there is a list of the ones that were just as not developed. So I don't know what the circumstances were. It was Cancun, Colorado Motorsports Country Club Circuit, which there's a lot of C's.
that rolls off the tongue nicely.
Dublin Street Circuit, which sounds dangerous since they
haven't
don't
heard
have
of that.
actual pavements. It's all cobblestone.
That'd be a bit interesting, yeah.
Kazakhstan Motor City,
All right,
Oslo Fjord Panoramic Race Park.
bless you.
That sounds really cool, actually.
It sounds really exotic.
The Siberian Ring in Novosibirsk,
Okay,
Novosibirsk
so that's-
Oblast.
Yep, that would be. All right.
Port Imperial Street Circuit in New Jersey. That doesn't.
That sounds like a terrible idea.
That doesn't sound like a New Jersey thing. And two in Croatia, Bistra Zagreb and Osijek. I don't know how you're supposed to pronounce TVRDA. That's a bit beyond me.
I think you just kind of lose the T at the beginning, so Verda.
Usually it's the T is actually very silent, yeah.
I'm not completely silent, but I think for most
Can't
people,
these
you can
people
just kind of
speak
ignore
no English? Dang it!
They really
We're-
don't. They really don't.
it. We're in the world. Speak American.
We live in a society. He did design the Hanoi Street Circuit in
Yep.
Nam
Oh, yeah.
Tuliem, Hanoi,
That's the upcoming Vietnam Grand Prix.
Vietnam.
Not looking forward to that.
I don't think very many people are.
I
if I'm
can't
honest.
really think of a street circuit in F1 that has been good. Like someone's gonna throw Monte Carlo at me,
Sort of Monaco.
but the
I think, yeah.
the actual races are not good. It's the fact that it's in Monaco.
Yeah, and like that's always been a historic thing. But even then, they've done. I mean, they've done little to change that circuit since the 50s or 60s.
I mean, Daniel Ricciardo won the race at Monaco with a car that was functionally unable to go to top gear. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
well, I feel like that particularly is they have 8 gears now, and Monaco's a pretty short, not very long straight. So, I feel like losing 8th gear wouldn't be.
I think he lost all the way down to 6th gear, if I recall
Wait, really?
correctly.
Wow,
But
okay.
I'd have to. He was having significant gearbox troubles, and even
Well,
himself said that he could not have won at any other track other than Monaco, with the car as it was.
I would like to point out that Mr.
Ricciardo.
Stoffmill is now up to 5th place.
He is up to 5th place. He's gotten past Mr. Butler, as is Fran Pachuca. So I suspect Butler may have had a off at some point. Now Martin Edmonds has gotten past him as well. So yeah, there is Butler coming back from his off. So
Yep.
that would be why. Douglas DeGroot has slipped down to 8th place, so he's having a bit of a rough time. He qualified in 5th, which was very impressive for an academy driver, but
Yeah.
has dropped back since. Congratulations to Douglas. Actually, he became a race winner in the academy this
Very
week.
nice.
Cha-cha. Which they don't let me do
Cha-cha
commentary on anymore because
Winning,
things.
he won race number 2 at Zandvoort and took a 4th place in race number 3. So he had a pretty solid day after qualifying P2.
Very nice. Meanwhile,
Race 1 did not go
Academy
terribly well.
anymore because I hurt Mike's feelings.
aw.
No, I've been trying to get academy coaches in for the academy commentary to get a little bit.
That does sound like a more reasonable thing than having me just talk shit.
Indeed, we're trying to make it part of the coaching session, if that makes any sense.
Absolutely, I do try to be encouraging, but I will make fun of you.
Here at ESR, we believe in equal opportunity shit talkers.
We had a very
Correct.
special guest on today's commentary, actually. So.
I mean, you're not supposed to say that about people with learning disabilities.
So Stoppmill. Now here's the question: Stoppmill's up to 5th place. That was where I kind of figured he'd get up to. No real problem. Like that was the That was the Div 3, Div 2 drivers and so on. So, like, the guys he was going to cut through like hot butter. Except for Martin Edmonds and Frame Machuca, who are... Martin seems to honestly be struggling with the track a little bit because he keeps flipping onto 2 wheels.
Oh,
Whoa, John Parker!
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Do a barrel roll!
Do a barrel roll.
I think it's safe to say that not all of his dogs are barking.
Indeed, but
I was just thinking about making the comment that a lot of these drivers are getting pretty aggressive on those inside curbs. We see them going on 2 wheels quite frequently. I'm kind of surprised. I was waiting for that to happen.
It is definitely upsetting the car balance, that is for sure. But anyways, to finish my point,
Yes.
the top 4 are now the guys that Softbill's got to catch, and Christopher Streppen, Carol Vega, not so much Max Simmons, who honestly tends to make some mistakes, and Clyde Britton. These are the guys that might actually be able to give Stopmill a run for his money, trying to get through the good. Although Simons is doing quite well. He seems to be... Max Simons seems to be one of the top drivers in ESR who is most affected by the car he is driving. Yeah. Like, there are cars that he is quite quick, quite able to do things in, and then there are cars that he just seems to be a bit lost in. And it's a bit interesting. And it seems like these ones are in the former category, where he's got the pace.
Yeah, definitely.
Maxwell the illegal Simmons.
I mean, it's possible.
Has that guy turned an illegal lap on any race yet?
See, they're still
yeah.
taking
Oh,
a
weeble
really,
wobble.
Whoa!
We got a
Nice
weeble wobble and a
recovery.
wiggle.
Nice recovery by Max Simons, but getting a little bit too much of that curve again.
Both of them, both Clive and Max, got pretty aggressive on that. Well, you know, Rubbin's racing, so to speak. If you're gonna go, better go hard.
I'm in favor of those sentiments.
So this is about a minute 40 lap by the looks of it. 41.6 is Clyde Britton's current fastest lap. So that's kind of the length we're dealing with here. I believe this is the longest of the Bilster Berg layouts. I think there's like 6 or 7 in the game.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm really looking for your support. We're in the event request thing. I propose that we do the Dakar Rally in mid-70s Honda Civics, and some people think that might be a good idea. So if we just keep the momentum going.
Well, once they're able to track down a game that has those options, I'll
should be.
in favor of that.
I don't know why there wouldn't be a game that didn't have like that. At least like make your own rally or something like that. Not like Rallycross.
It's because you haven't developed it yet, Byron.
Well, goddamn it! Somebody give me a phone call and some developers.
I mean, there's probably definitely a mod in some game that it can be done.
Just straighten out the Nürburgring.
Probably R Factor or something.
But mod quality is always a little bit of a gamble.
Yeah.
Well, I know in Dirt 4, they have a kind of a procedural generated stage kind of deal option.
I remember
just the coolest.
We were doing a Race 07 series, and we had downloaded a mod track, Miller Motorsports Park. I think it's in Utah, isn't it?
Yeah.
But anyways, so we downloaded it, and I guess none of the admins thought to test it before putting on the calendar.
Oh my.
So we show up for the race, and everyone gets dropped into the server and gets immediately disqualified because we got put outside the pit lane. We were in the parking lot. It was problematic.
Yeah, I imagine. Did you guys ever end up solving that?
No, I mean, we got to the track eventually, but we had to drive through the parking lot to find the track. So there's these big F3000 cars trying to drive their way onto the track, and it's like, it's over here, guys, over here. We found it.
It's like a modern day Le Mans start, where except for instead of having to run to the car, you have to find the entrance to the track.
Yeah, that was basically a slight problem. That was the most amusing failed mod story I've ever had.
It'd be like a timed stage. You gotta get to the pit. Find the pit. Oh God!
There's of course also ones where we've been driving along the track and been like, so.
James Butler!
Oh, James Butler!
There's a lot of waving at the crowd going on here. Make sure you have your undercarriage coating on, otherwise, fines.
Yeah. Are you sure? Are you sure this is the Enduro? This might be Monster Truck Rally.
I'm down for that too. Can we get trophy trucks?
I mean, this is an enduro to see how quickly you can break your suspension.
That's true. That's true. Oh yeah, there's suspension damage in this game now. Looks like someone
I don't
off
know if
track up.
these cars
Clive
have
bringing
it
his
though.
can on 2 wheels. Oh, they're giving it all they got. I mean, it makes it entertaining to watch for sure.
Mm-hmm. I believe this is probably why this was hyped up to you, Byron.
Yeah,
no
I'm enjoying it. There's a lot of weeble wobbles and only one fall down.
The timing error actually appears to be a little bit calmer than it has been, but I still don't trust the timing gaps that are being provided by the spectator, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, it looks like, it looks like the one that we're looking at here between Carl Vega and Christopher Streppen is okay.
But like then it's like going from like 6 seconds to 19 seconds back to Max Simons, so that's that's a problem.
Yeah, that's a good point. I've noticed that this game has always kind of done that. Never quite that extremely, but
it's definitively been a lot worse since the update. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's like there's a new coding to the timing data that the Spectator app is just not able to really polish, or if it's maybe something to do with like more sampling on the connection side. So due to ping, like things are like like maybe it was like sampling at like 10 per second before, and now it's like 15 per second, and it's not finding the samples sometimes.
Definitely could be.
So, a couple of different options, but whatever it is, it has left us with some.
Aggressive on that chicane.
It has left us with a slightly unreliable timing screen.
Yeah. Well, I was doing a regular race in online the other day, and I mean, even in the car on some of their Motec screens, they'll tell you gaps, and it'll fluctuate wildly. Like I was at one point, I was in the lead, and it was going between 2.5 seconds and 0.8 of a second, and it was really disorienting. Definitely psyched myself out a little bit.
Yeah, fortunately, it doesn't seem to be a problem in the game, which is nice. So like we're when you're driving in Race Room, it seems like you're getting it fine, but like once the spectator tool is introduced, it's been a trip.
Yeah, no kidding.
Like Mike Stockbill has apparently lost about 10 seconds this lap. I guarantee you that this not actually happened.
Well, he's gaining it all back. Oh wow, he gained like 8 seconds back in about 4 seconds.
That's amazing.
And now it's back up to 20.
Wow.
Back down to 10. Down to 6.
Mike, you got to figure out that hyperdrive.
So
he's gone plaid.
Yeah,
I'm going through this list of Herman Tilke built racetracks, and for just
Quite
funsies, I clicked on the Indian racetrack.
Oh god,
this thing looks ridiculous. I think we need to do this.
It was terrible.
It looks amazing. It's got like 3 big. Well, it's got 3 long-ish straightaways and 1 shorter straightaway, and then some really fucked up corners.
And now you know the basic concept of a Tokadrome.
Yep.
I like it.
Couple long straights and some fucked up corners.
Oh, Max Simons or Simmons?
That was Max Simons, yeah. Max Simons, Simonson.
The submarine.
Everyone says it a different way every time.
The Simonizer. Well, in fairness, he has encouraged us to continuously butcher his name. So.
That is 100% true.
Oh,
holy crap!
We called him Siemens at one point.
Okay, I looked at the. It's got like cost of construction for this track, and I just about lost my mind. And then it showed what the cost is in US dollars.
Oh.
It was like $20 billion to build a what?
Or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, like rupees or whatever they are. Not sure. I'm not trying to be racist. I genuinely don't know. But it's like $280 million. That seems like a lot.
Racetracks are pretty expensive.
Just pay them.
That's actually why a lot of this,
the problem is when you
the Hanoi track.
Yeah, the problem is when you design an F1 track, there's a lot of other costs. You got to have like the great facilities, the catering, the kitchens, etc. So like, it adds up.
You just order Quiznos. It works for everybody.
What was that South American track that they took off the F1 docket? Oh, this is killing me. And they built another. They're building another track to replace it with. Oh, my guess is gonna kill
The
me.
last South American track that was removed from the calendar was Argentina, but that was back in the 90s.
F1. I'm just gonna Google it.
We need a Peruvian death race.
Sao Paulo, I think.
It's still on the calendar. That's Interlagos.
We'd like to welcome you all to
hearing-
this year's Andean Murder Death Fest Grand Prix, where we race across the tops of mountains.
I mean, Brazil has been threatened in the past about like potentially being removed for various reasons, basically money. But
Yeah.
it has retained a spot, unless it's off the calendar this season. Let's see here, 2020 F1 calendar. You have a coinky dink here. Yep, Brazil is still there. Autodromo Jose Carlos Pace, Sao Paulo, Brazil, formerly known as Interlagos. It was renamed in the honor of Carlos Pace, a Brazilian driver who unfortunately died. Was in Formula One back in the 1980s, I do believe.
Interesting. I could have sworn I remember hearing about something that was we're gonna stop racing at Sao Paulo in lieu of constructing a new circuit.
They've talked about that a lot because like the Sao Paulo land that's being used for the track is like, you know, really, really valuable, and people are like, we could do things with this, we could do some stuff and make it real profitable.
Yeah, whatever.
But hasn't happened.
If we could just backtrack for a minute, are you saying that track was acceptable in the 80s?
I mean, it's still around now, but it was named after a driver who was acceptable in the 80s. It was acceptable at the time. Carl Vega took the lead of the race while we were indulging.
Well played, gentlemen. Well played.
I just realized this also is not the longest version of Bilster Berg. It's missing the chicane.
Oh yes, right. There's the chicane one that adds it to the pile.
Are you telling me we could have had more chicanery?
We could have had more chicanery.
We could have. Whoever organized these races, get on it.
Fired.
We'll be running this in the Wednesday series as well. Still don't know what layout because honestly, I kind of want to do some experimentation to figure out kind of what suits the GT3 cars the best.
Probably not the chicane version, sadly.
Well, I mean, but people might want that chicane version. I mean,
well, yeah, but it does. I mean, yeah, if you base it on how well it fits, I'm not sure the GT3s. So I still think it's probably more fun.
Yep. I mean that will be the challenge. That'll be round 6 of the 3D Speed series upcoming. Oh God, this camera view is a little bit.
It was kind of it was a nice break, man. It was very zen.
Munching on some cones.
Channeling his inner Tom Was.
Num num num.
You're not familiar with, but we had a guy in Zero Racing. He might be coming back actually. He just bought ACC. He's got himself a new sim rig.
Very nice.
Tom Was might be coming back, but he was the enemy of all pylons.
Tom Wozniak.
We'd be racing around Bathurst, and someone would be like, "Why are there pylons all over the start-finish straight?" Tom, did you hit the pylons again?
Num num.
I actually was doing an online race at Monza in ACC the other night, with just some randoms, and someone had hit the orange anti-track cut things.
Okay.
And had pushed 2 of them onto the track. So the first variante became really interesting.
No kidding. Jeez. Still extra chicanery in there.
Indeed, it was a chicane within a chicane.
Chicane!
Inception. Oh, what happened to Butler? I think he got booted down about 7 spaces.
No, Butler's been in that ballpark. Like, he's definitely, I think, made a mistake because he lost a spot to Loeffler and Barker, but I believe he was in 9th place. So,
Looked like some big shuffling was going on. But anyway, maybe I had it. I just couldn't. I blinked or something.
Could be. We got Vega from Verstappen, Simmons, Britton. Stoppmill's still in 5th place. I don't know how far he is behind Britton because we can't rely on the timing.
2 feet.
He's pretty far behind still. He's not in shot.
2.5 feet.
2.5 feet.
And then you got Fran Machuca. Should have some pit stops here as well, of course. This is an Enduro, so there should be a change of tires and fuel.
Do we know how long these Audis can go on fuel?
They can go all the way if you save it, because Wayne Hutchinson once did I believe it was the Suzuka Enduro race without doing a pit stop.
Wow.
So it can, you can go the full 90 minutes on one tank of gas, but I'm not entirely certain if it would be advisable to be saving fuel that much. Also your tires would be pretty done.
Oh yeah.
Maybe not. I mean, I know that some drivers don't change tires. Sean Kenny, I think maybe 2 rounds ago, I gave a real hard time because I thought he lost spots, personally, because he didn't change tires.
Oh.
He defends his decision to this date.
Yeah, no kidding.
But,
well, yeah, sometimes...
Tires are optional, of course, but you will most likely need fuel. So I guess it would depend. If you wanted to pit for tires, I would do that around the halfway point of the race. That way you have new rubber for the second half of the race, obviously. And there's obviously enough room in the gas tank to get to the end at that point. But I believe the gas tank can go to, like, probably, without, like, interesting amounts of fuel saving, probably about 3/4 race distance.
Oh, okay. That's not too bad.
Not sure if anyone has pitted yet. Unfortunately, of course, as is generally the case, since the mandatory pit stop is not on, we do not get the pit stop indicator.
Oh, I see.
Which I'm going to talk to Martin again about that, because I keep saying it, our Enduro races should just turn that on, because it makes commentating on them so much easier, because there will be a little icon that changes colors
keep
if
track
you
of it.
pit.
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter is that outside of Wayne's Herculean effort at Suzuka, it's not like anyone's going for the no pit stop option, so it's not even limiting the options.
Well, even if you did at most tracks, it probably wouldn't be worth it. I mean, maybe Catalunya, maybe Road America if you were doing that, but not.
I think Catalunya, I think the tire deg would be a little bit high.
That's true. I'm just thinking of tracks with really long pit roads.
Yeah, well, the other option would be also tracks that are really conducive to fuel saving.
That too.
Would perhaps work. Catalunya's pit road is not really all that long, so.
Really?
Not particularly.
Well, it goes all the way down the front straight, pretty much. So.
Yeah, but that's the exit. You can get on speed relatively early there.
Oh.
Like, it's the entrance to a pit lane and also the complexity. Like, Laguna Seca's pit lane, for example, is not particularly long, but because it's so freaking kinked, it's really easy to fuck it up.
Kinky. Yeah. Yeah, I know that feeling. I've definitely done that before.
Does the winner get named the creature of the Black Laguna?
I mean, probably should
it could be. That'd be nice.
But I believe it's like just like King of the Corkscrew or something.
We give another timing error. It says there's only a minute left in the race.
An hour.
So what that is that's an hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's right, because it was more elaborate earlier. Anyway.
Yeah, it seems to struggle when you get close to like 1 hour left. It seems to, I don't know, mess up a bit. That's been a long-term issue. I'm not really sure what causes it.
That makes sense. Meanwhile, it looks like our usual suspects have kept on each other.
Yeah, basically got this battle here between Vega and Verstappen, and then you got Simons and Britton fighting for third place, which we've seen a lot of, and then Stoppmill is somewhere in the ether.
Yeah, he's going to appear somewhere, I know it. And everyone's just kind of driving. Kind of interested to see where James Butler ends up in all this, because he can be a bit of a wild card, at least as far as I've been able to
just
tell.
Overtook Alex Loeffler without being able to see it, so I'm wondering if Loeffler hit the pit lane, maybe?
Certainly a possibility.
Bit early, 58 minutes remaining, so we're not at half distance. So it's an early pit stop, but certainly we'll have to keep an eye on it. He does appear to be dropping back, though. So no, well now he's getting close. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe he just went off the track.
Yeah. Do we know? Is there? I mean, there's no mandatory pit stop. Is there a pit window? I mean, obviously
No,
we're not clear
I
in the timing, but do we care?
I don't believe that Race Room supports a pit window option.
I know there has been a pit window. I've seen it in servers, but I don't know how it functions. So.
I've never seen it as an option on the server, to be honest. So I don't know how I would set it up.
I think
Mind
it
you,
just comes.
I've also not set up a mandatory pit stop, so maybe you turn on mandatory pit stop. There's a window option that opens up. I'd have to look at it.
I haven't messed with the dedicated server tool in a long time, but back in the day, like a year ago, I seem to remember that it was just a non-adjustable thing. Like if you turned on mandatory pit stop, it would just open and close a pit window.
Okay.
I think around halfway. But it could have changed certainly.
Well, it would definitely have to be south of halfway and north of halfway because basically for those not particularly up to date on like real life motorsports, the idea of the pit lane window is more than anything else. It's actually about limiting the driver's time in the car because obviously in endurance racing. Of a shorter nature, not like 24-hour racing, but like say the Sprint Cup or like the ADAC GT Masters is probably is an ideal one. You have teams that are PA entries, Pro-Am entries.
Verstappen making a move.
Hold off on finishing my explanation while Verstappen tries to make his move here.
Sorry to interrupt. I just noticed.
No. It's please interrupt away when there's some good action happening because this could get interesting.
We're looking at the trees.
Yeah, the camera angles here are a little bit less ideal on certain sections of this track.
Man, that is an exciting hill. All right, he's coming along. I've always been fascinated with front-wheel drive cars because they're just a whole different animal, really. And
absolutely. There are people who are absolutely terrible in front wheelers who
that's me.
Who can deliver in real wheelers and vice versa. It's a very different experience. The car behaves largely opposite to how you expect it to behave. And also, tire management becomes a huge part of a front-wheel drive car because, of course, in a rear-wheel drive car, the rear wheels are giving you your power, and that means that the tire wear is largely evenly distributed.
Yeah.
It'll still, depending on a track and car, favor one particular tire, or maybe the fronts will get worn faster or the backs. But in an open wheel car, you're doing the turning and the power with the front wheel drives, or with the front wheels, and as a result, the front wheels will wear at an accelerated rate compared to the back.
Oh yeah.
And that can make you have all kinds of interesting grip scenarios.
Makes it really easy to choose which tires to replace, though.
100%. You definitely want to fix. Definitely want to change the fronts.
Christopher!
Verstappen got a sniff, but he backed out of it.
Got a taste.
Somebody off there. I think that was Toby Howard.
Might be Howard. Yeah. Point.
Toby still choosing. Still kind of cruising on his own there, but soldiering on. Go Toby.
But anyway, now that situation seems to have diffused a bit, I forgot what
we were talking about the pit lane window and its like kind of function.
Yeah. Well, never mind.
Going for it
I spoke a little too soon. Verstappen
Get
on
him!
the inside of
Put
the
him in the
back.
wall!
I think he's got it. He's
might
got
be.
it.
Well,
Nope.
He's gonna be
Little
bold.
bump and grind.
Couldn't hold the line. Couldn't hold the tight
We'll
line.
see if he can. Oh yeah, that's not happening.
All right, so yeah, the pit window is to limit, like, obviously PA entries predominantly, because of course Pro-Am entries are you got an amateur driver and a pro driver. Amateur being like a silver or a bronze driver, pro being like a gold or a platinum. And obviously your team would be highly invested in having the pro driver race more of the race than the amateur driver. And to avoid that, there's basically the pit window is there to cap how long the pro driver can stay in the car by forcing them to pit at least like say the pro driver starts, okay, well you had to pit by this time, and if the AM driver, drive through penalty for Toby Howard.
Toby Howard.
Unfortunately.
Tobias, you speed demon.
Use of track limits. But anyways, or that the amateur guy has to get in the car by a certain point. So that's really what the mandatory pit windows are for. Now there are other series that don't have driver swaps that kind of have the same thing.
Yeah.
There's a pit window in Formula 2, for example.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But that tends to be based around safety.
Oh, I see.
Limits how much cocaine you can take per lap.
Absolutely not. People can take excessive amounts of cocaine.
I'm in favor of this as well.
Especially high-profile celebrities such as Formula drivers.
Frank Montaghi in the building.
Yep.
You'll have to excuse us while Mike officially dies here on camera.
Finally we can escort execute our takeover of the ESR. Little did you know, Martin has been breeding us to assassinate you, Mike.
Yeah, but Martin's in charge. He doesn't have to assassinate me to make that happen.
He knows you've been trying to orchestrate a coup. He tasked us with taking you down. Meanwhile, we in the background we saw Carol Vega lose 2 wheels again on one of those curves. I might be tempted to say that we might see an exchange of the lead over some 2-wheel drive going on.
That would be very intriguing.
I'd be entertained as hell, and also it'd be kind of funny if everybody just flipped over.
You okay there, Byron?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He's very excited.
I am, yeah. Kind of surprised Stoffmill has not moved up from 5th place.
Yeah.
We saw a shot of the battle for 3rd, so he's kind of on it now. But actually, he's not. Yeah, he's still fairly far back.
Got a few seconds back. Well, Verstappen, nope. Never mind. I think he was closer.
Now, the trump card that Stoffmill has is that, generally speaking, Stoffmill has a lot more thought-out pit lane strategies as well, so he might be able to jump them in the pits.
True. Interesting, these guys have some surprisingly varied lines through some of these turns. And that's not meant to be a dig on any of them, but it's kind of interesting how some of them are getting kind of creative with their line. Oh, Verstappen going on the inside of, I think that's what, turn 1?
Yeah, I think that's turn 1, and that's going to get Verstappen back to the lead.
Yeah, but he is a little bit at a disadvantage on the next turn, and goes 2-wheeling again.
Little 2-wheel there over the curb. Vegas got the inside line.
Verstappen inches him out just a little bit.
Little cheekiness there. Yeah. Showed him a little bit of the cheek and said, yeah, you can try and pass me.
You want some of this?
It might not go well.
Yeah. We'll check on Clive.
This has got to be the least Canadians we've ever had for on a grid, for the record, of just one. Douglas DeGroot drive-through penalty for abuse of track limits.
I haven't spent very much time at Bilster Berg, but I'm kind of surprised at how much it's letting them get away with hitting those pylons. I mean, yeah, again, I don't know the limits per se, but you would think that if you hit one of those, it would.
Yeah, you would think that the bollards would be the track limits, effectively.
Well, maybe people are just getting a little too greedy, it seems.
Well, we have had 2 drive-throughs for abuse of track limits, so they are coming. It's still something that no matter what Race Room has done, the enforcement of track limits has not been great in this game's history.
Oh, definitely. I remember specifically, like, it used to be pretty lax, which, say what you want, I liked it because, you know, kind of gave you a little more freedom, although it did certainly enforce. Recently or I guess not recently, but a few months ago even, like, they're they've cracked down on their track limits to an insane degree, quite frankly, especially with Race Room Raceway and Portimao, the free circuits. My gosh, sometimes on those chicanes, seems like you can't even drop one wheel on the on the curb.
I definitely feel you there. And there's also like just some areas where like it seems like there's an automatic drive through the outside of turn 1 at Chang, for example, which is really problematic when there's some contact at the start, because you'll want to take that big shoulder there to just avoid getting, you know, your car damaged, and then it's like end drive through, and it's like, oh, fuck you.
Yep. Really, I've never driven at Chang before, but
oh, you've not experienced the joy that is the destination of speed? You need to go fix that.
I would have to buy it, I think.
That's possible.
What is it? The let's see, it's Race Room. Oh, we're going two-wheeling some more. These guys really like
Simmons off.
Oh, Simmons is off. Clive is gonna maybe have a look. It looks like Toby's got
another drive-through for Toby.
Well, it looks like
2 for Mr. Toby Howard.
Looks like Clive Britton has closed the door on Max Simmons and putting quite a bit of distance between them two. Although,
well, that's because Simmons was off the track.
yeah, definitely those. I don't think I've ever driven a front-wheel drive car with bad tires in this game, but it sounds scary. It doesn't sound appealing, if I'm honest.
From what I can understand, the tire wear on these cars is not terrible. Not like, say,
more referring to the dirty tires.
Well, the dirty tires too. Yeah, that would not be fun. That would be a definitive lack of traction.
And again, I haven't driven the Audi TT Cup very much, or at all really. But my experience in the WTCCs, these the lift-off oversteer is a killer. And if you don't have rear-wheel traction, that can be even more devastating.
These are I think more friendly to drive than the WTCCs.
Oh, that's good.
I wouldn't want to do an Enduro series in the WTCC.
They can get kind of insane. Although at some point, I kind of like them for no more reason, goodness I can speak. They kind of feel like, you know, hopped up street cars, and they have all the faults of front wheel drive. Carl Vega taking really wide out of turn 4. I don't know. But it's way past 4. I don't know. Good track.
I don't really have a feel for the turns on this track. Obviously, I've not turned a lot of laps here.
Yeah. I'm gonna pull up a track map.
This is, of course, very new to Race Room, and I'm pretty sure this is the only sim that has Bilster Berg. So,
props. I like of course, Sector 3, the creator of this game is, or used to be Simbin, but they're Swedish, and they've had some pretty unique tracks that I haven't seen in any other game that I really enjoy.
Yeah, a lot of the Scandinavian stuff.
Yeah, Nutstorp is a good choice.
Nutstorp.
I love Nutstorp. Falkenberg. Mantorp is good. Falkenberg, right?
Falkenberg is one of them, yeah.
Karlskoga. Oh yeah, Karlskoga, that's a good one. So they've got some good little tracks. One thing I'm kind of surprised we don't see more of is Circuit Oxfordschleben. That's a fun one.
I mean, Fran Machuca with drive-through penalty. That's gonna put a wrench in his plan, because he's been fighting with Martin Edmonds over that 6th place for a while. Definitely.
Well, he has had some success in keeping off. Oh, and another one, it looks like.
That could be the same one being shown.
Let's hope so. Otherwise, that could be absolutely devastating.
Two drive-throughs. It's gonna. Oh, Martin Edmonds drive-through.
Martin Edmonds drive-through penalty, and they're starting to come, guys, ladies and gentlemen.
Bunch of dirty cheaters.
Well,
filthy, encrusted cheaters.
Meanwhile, the
Max Simons has taken 3rd place back off camera from Clive Britton at some point, so back onto the podium for the good old US of A.
Good catch. Like Butler is making up some more positions.
That's just I think that's Fran and Martin going into serve drive-throughs. Douglas DeGroot disqualified, ignored a drive-through penalty.
That's not good.
We are down to 11 cars.
It's interesting how it doesn't tell you when they serve a penalty. Oh, Douglas DeGroot. Oh, that's the
no,
same thing.
that's the same one. That's just a return.
Double disqualified.
You're disqualified for the next race, I guess. Oh, looks like Carol Vega. They might be pitting. That makes sense. That makes sense. They're pitting.
Yeah, we're at about that halfway point, so this will be when I think we'll see a lot of action in the pit lane.
Oh, I like that livery. Martin Edmonds driving the Audi S1 throwback livery. I didn't recognize that at first. That's very creative. Of course, the S1 is the original Audi Quattro race car beast from 1983, where Round 1 dominated Group B in the first inaugural years. That's a pretty cool throwback.
So it looks like we've seen a legit pit stop from Vega. We also saw Machuca, and I'm assuming Edmonds, based on not having overtaken Fran, also served his drive-through. We know that, of course, Douglas DeGroot did not. And has been. Oh, God!
Oh my goodness.
The poor suspension on these cars.
And I assume they have damage turned on, correct?
Absolutely.
Alright, well.
I don't know if the damage model for suspension applies on this track. Oop, James Butler with a drive-through.
Oh boy. I wish I could see some of these drive-through penalties, because at least from what we've seen on the director footage stream here, it's been pretty clean, although, like I said, they have been eating up bollards like it's a buffet.
But like the cars we're seeing eat up the bollards are not. That's a big one. Christoph Verstappen, the race leader with a drive-through.
Track limits at Beast, but that's right before his pitting right now. So I wonder if
there's a pit. There's an issue around the pit lane.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That could be the case. In which case, maybe everyone's getting a drive-through penalty.
If you drive, you will get a penalty.
Well, no. Carol Vega pitted and did
right.
not get a drive-through. So,
That's a good point.
I mean, it could be something like the Mid-Ohio race we did in the Aquilas recently, where there is a part of the track that it's like the track limits don't quite line up with track, and when you go into the pit lane, if you don't stay more to the left than you think you have to, you'll get a drive-through.
Could certainly be. I'm not familiar with this track in actual race, so.
Of course, I've never seen an actual race here.
Yeah. I love practicing at this track. This track is a lot of fun. My favorite combination is with. Looks like is that Howard?
That was Toby. Yeah.
GT1s here is an absolute fantastic pairing. It's terrifying.
I can imagine it's terrifying.
But it's very, very fun. I highly recommend it. Ooh, I've never driven on the new physics model here, though. Oh, it looks like... who is that? Simmons going just a tad bit wide on this third-to-last corner.
Yeah, this is the battle. This is the battle for the on-track lead, although I believe Carol Vega will be the official leader when things shake out. Was in second place to Christoph Verstappen, but of course Christoph has that drive-through penalty to serve.
Oh, poor Christoph. That's going to be devastating to his cause.
Is Martin Edmonds in the pit lane there, so I'm not sure if that's to serve his drive-through
Penalty?
or if that is a fuel and tire stop.
It is to serve a penalty and to incur 2 or 3 more.
Good.
Could be.
Back on board. We're looking at Clive Britton. And meanwhile, Stoffmill has moved up to third, and I assume he hasn't taken his pit stop yet.
That is, I believe, just because Verstappen and Vega hit the pit lane, of course.
Yeah, but he's still...
People are a little bit out of shape. Alex Loeffler getting past Martin Edmonds. Don't know if Loeffler's been in for his pit stop or not. He's
I don't think so.
Not really been important to the proceedings, unfortunately for him.
Although it's worth noting that Stoffmill has made up some time on Britton and Simmons, although not a huge gargantuan amount. Wonder if he's maybe struggling with the front.
To be honest, I expected more because Britton and Simmons have been fighting really hard over that what is effectively third place and currently first on track. Actually, that might be second place now because of course Verstappen got that drive-through.
Oh yeah, good point.
So this could be the battle for second, effectively.
Yeah, that makes sense because the pit here is short, but it's still going to take a good
Yeah,
15,
Verstappen
20
was
seconds.
not very far ahead. I think it's entirely possible that Verstappen may effectively even be behind Stoppel.
I think it's probably more likely than not, actually, because the third.
You know,
third was
I
not far
might.
behind second.
I mean, the weird thing, of course, is you can see him in the background there, and the question is, like, it seems like he served the drive-through, but has not pitted. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, that makes
which
sense.
I think he may have just headed in because Vega just popped up in a fourth place. But he seemed to get out of the pits like well ahead of Vega. So unless his pit stop was just a lot more. Oh wait, that's not even him in the background. Okay, that's what messed me up. I think that's John Barker who's just a lap down.
Yeah.
Impossible. John Barker is upside down.
Oh, that might be Howard.
Could be Toby. Could also be Loeffler.
No, that's
Doesn't
Loeffler.
look like it. Yeah.
They do have the same paint scheme though.
They do. Yep. The checkered digital pattern.
Well, back on. Looks like we got some remarkably competitive racing, in spite of the fact that we've had cars almost flip over and a couple actually flip over. I can't say I'm.
Yeah, there's pretty much action throughout the grid. Unfortunately, not so much for Mr. Toby Howard, unfortunately. But there's been this race line battle between Britton and Simmons. We got Stopmill, I think it's fair to say, is also in this battle, just a little bit behind them. You had the battle between Vega and Verstappen. You've had at various points Martin Edmonds fighting with Alex Loeffler, with John Barker, with James Butler, with Fran Machuca. Sadly, we've lost Douglas DeGroot to a black flag. No pit stop this time around for the top three, and they continue on.
The real question is, how badly do they want to keep the fight up versus getting some new tires on? Because they're running into their last third here. So if they go too much longer, they run the risk of...
Whoa!
Oh!
Yeah!
Simmons recovers, but that's going to give the lead to Clyde. No, it's giving the lead to Stopmill.
Stopmill capitalizes on all of this. Oh
Yep.
my gosh.
How do you like your eggs, boys?
That was a little cheeky by Max Simmons because he tried to get back on ahead of Clyde Britton, which, you know, I can understand it. Don't get me wrong.
But it's not.
But I think that was asking way too much of the car.
He should have been a little bit more careful, but looks like at least no harm, no foul this time. Ooh, that's. I feel Britton's pain there, of being a little bit robbed of his what would be second place. And just like that, we see the natural balance of the universe reset itself.
So the question now is, can Stopmill get into the pit lane and get out ahead of Vega?
You would think they would learn to get a little bit less, aggressive on those curves, but yeah, they got their eyes on the prize, I guess.
As far as the pit stop strategy is concerned, also it depends on how bad the tires are wearing. Because as I've said, we've had pretty much every race we've had guys go the distance on a single set of tires, and it's not been
That's a good point.
Catastrophic. So it really depends, because if you're debating a tire swap, you want to go probably a fair ways, because if the tires are good, you kind of want to see where that drop off point is, and then once the drop off point comes, then you're into the pit lane. So it would depend on what lap times they're running, because we see Max Simmons here's got a 41.2 as his best lap. If he's running like 41.8s, like there's no necessary need to get in the pits.
Wow, it looks like Mike Stopmill's been running a little bit slower of laps, 141.4 versus 41.2.
Yeah.
We're not used to seeing that. Now, well, my thought was that even with that in mind, you would think that, you know, past the halfway point or even like the 2/3 point, you would want to just throw some new tires on anyway, because or at least, you know, because you're gonna have to do the pit stop, right? So it might as well be, I don't know.
I mean, again, it's that debate of if you think you can do it in one set of tires without losing tremendous performance.
Oh, I forget you don't have to swap tires. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
I forgot.
It's the pit stop is really a fuel necessity, not a tire necessity. Yeah.
Right.
So, like I said, we've seen guys do the one set of tires. I
see-
can't remember if Max Simmons or Clyde Britton or Stopmill have done the single set. But but it's a known fact in the grid that it can be done.
I would think that in these front-wheel drive cars, it would be, you know, like you said, the wear is concentrated on heavily on the front. But like I said, never driven these cars. Maybe they use a really resilient tire. I would, like I forgot. I come from, so before joining ESR, I came from like a small race department league where they mandated at least 2 tire changes, or at least, you know, 2 tires changed in the pit stop. Every race, so I skipped over that. But it'll be interesting to see if they can make it on the full hour and a half on their factory, or the, you know, the default tires. I guess that would be good. I'd be blown
Now I
away
will pop up
if
and
they're
say
able to maintain
if I'm in the
lap
car of Max Simons right now, I'm probably going to hit the pit lane because he's got we believe that's John Barker there in the green car, kind of trailing him. And I don't want to, like, Barker's not really going to fight him because he's a lapped car.
The back marker, yeah.
But I kind of want to get away from him, so I would
Yeah.
probably take this opportunity to dip into the pits and get if I want, get the fresh rubber and get the fuel, and then rejoin the fight.
Well, that was something I was going to mention a little earlier that I kind of forgot about, is that when Britton and Simmons, obviously it doesn't matter now, but when Britton and Simmons were fighting pretty heavily, as either one of them, I probably would have pit then just to sort of clear up the road maybe a little bit.
Absolutely.
Of course, then you run the risk of, you know, maybe you're going to pop out in the middle of another fight. But they were both dragging each other down just a little bit with their
I think you can
brawl.
see the difference in pace right now because, like we said, we got Barker, who's a lapped car and hasn't really been on leader pace this whole time. He's been in the pits, probably got new tires, and is very much keeping up with the top 3 cars. So there's definitely some pace drop-off going on here right now, although I don't have the timing to prove
back that up. Yeah, certainly. So, I mean, maybe we'll have to talk with the drivers later, but I mean, if this is me, again, I haven't driven these cars, I would have pit while battling with Simmons. Or
Clyde Britton might wish that he did, because of course Simmons kind of messed him up there and put him behind Mike Stockmill, which is it's not a place that people generally come back from.
Yeah, exactly. He can try. I would probably, if I was him, like I said, I'd probably hedge my bets and go in for some fuel, maybe just like a little breather. You know, try to regain your efforts and see if you can get some fresh air, some fresh, and not be worrying about trying to battle the Stockmill.
It has made this very interesting, and unfortunately, because we don't have reliable timing data, I can't really comment on whether this battle actually is. But in theory, we do have an interesting top 5 battle going here, because of course we have Vega and Verstappen, who have pitted and presumably are good to the end. And they were 1 and 2. Verstappen had to take a drive-through penalty on top of his pit stop, though. So, where are they fitting in with these 3 right now? Once
that's a
they
great
pit,
question.
so like that's going to be really interesting to see that work out.
Yeah, I would. Ooh, yeah, because we could have a potentially really interesting battle for, what is this?
Basically, first through 5th, basically.
Yeah, 4th or 5th. I was focusing more on the back end where Verstappen would potentially come out.
Yeah, that'd be the interesting one. I still think Verstappen's in the worst shape, but at the same time, we got someone heading into the pit lane, I think.
I don't know.
Drive-through penalty incurred by literally everybody else at the same time.
Might make a meme out of that.
But yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of strategic value for Simmons or Britton to get in the pit lane, or even Stockmill to get in the pit lane and try to maybe reduce, because like that's the big question that, of course, the inaccurate timing data we have is kind of denying us, is what is Carl Vega doing in relation to these guys in terms of lap times? Because we're being told he's 2 minutes and almost 3 minutes behind, which we know is not the case. And it'd be interesting to know if that gap is closing very rapidly. Whoa, Martin Edmonds!
Hello, Shirley.
Martin Edmonds, upside down on his roof.
Upside down on his roof, skating along.
That's just our most recent casualty in a string of Audis on their roofs.
And now you know how he likes
That was
his
probably definitely the most interesting one.
Shame we didn't really get to see it as much.
But yeah, like there's a ton of decisions going into it. Like, because right now, like if you're the top 3 and Vega's not closing the gap, you might want to run as long as you can on these tires and try and find where that cliff is.
Definitely. I mean, as you mentioned though, with Barker, well, he's fallen back. What happened?
I think it's more that Simmons is falling back. So I think Simmons is taking too much out of his tires and really needs to get in the pits. Yeah, there he's in the background.
Oh, is that so? Wait, is that Butler? Who's the green car?
That's Barker.
Oh, okay. And where's Verstappen in all this?
I think that's Barker. We actually have not had confirmation on that, but I thought the only 2 lime green cars were Verstappen and Barker, and it's not Verstappen based on where he is.
Yeah.
So,
well, whoever it is, I mean,
or if it is Verstappen, that means Verstappen is lapped and is way further behind than we thought.
Yeah.
Oh, we've lost Byron.
Oh, well, I haven't heard him for a while, so.
Yeah, we've been nerding out. So I mean, again, we're in heavy speculation mode right now because there are a ton of things that we just don't.
There's a bunch of question marks. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, well, regardless of who it is, I mean, they.
But I can say if I can say if it's Max, if I'm Max Simons, I'm giving up on the idea of going on one set of tires because you can visually see that he is dropping back of the top 2. So
well,
like, he needs to get in for tires and fuel. I would say ASAP.
Yeah, I would definitely agree, especially because he doesn't really have anything to lose with it. I mean. He's kind of fighting. He's fighting whoever that is, green car, and he's really only putting himself at a loss. I would just get out of there, get my pit done, get some fresh air. Like I said, take a breather,
and also just avoid the possible risk of a blue flag car that is on fresher tires, presumably.
Yeah, certainly.
Making contact with you at some point, like because I think this is courting a little bit of disaster.
Yeah, well, he knows what he wants, and maybe he can make it up. We'll I guess time will tell. Certainly, we can only speculate, like you said.
Because at this point, like we got 26 and change left in the race. Like, there's no worry at this point that a set of tires could not last very solidly to the end.
Yeah, certainly. Although, speaking of unlikely things, Britain is chasing down Stoffmeal. Just kind of counting time. He's gained about a second on Stoffmeal there. Britain has. This is not something I expected to see in this race.
Not at all. But we did see Stoffmeal struggle to catch a Britain.
Yeah,
and it was only Max Simons' like overly aggressive driving that gave Stoffmeal the lead. So
that's true. It might be a smart idea for Stoffmeal to take some tires even just to. Because, oh wow, he's losing big time. Wow, Britain is right on his tailpipe.
I mean, with Stoffmeal, it's a much more complex question than Simons, and it's unfortunately a case of, like, we don't have the information to really make the call, because, again, it's like, what is he relevant to Vega? Because Vega is the threat to the lead. Now, Britain is as well, but if you can maintain track position over Britain, you can possibly hold him off, like, if you think that you can defend against him. Like, again, the question, unfortunately, to all of this is still, all right, what times are Stoffmeal and Britain running? What time is Vega running? Because if Vega's running way faster times, then yes, absolutely, get in the pits and get yourself some new tires.
Yeah.
But,
unfortunately,
again, we're kind of robbed of of that information.
Well, even with that, I mean, the driver, Stoffmeal or Vega even, doesn't have that information either, really, unless they're.
Well, you pay attention to the gap. You see it go down or up, depending.
Oh,
sideways.
Right. Racestream has that position bar thing, right?
Absolutely.
I forget about that. I never used that, so I forgot it existed. Welcome back, Byron. I heard your beautiful singing voice.
Indeed. Yeah, I don't know what happened. My internet cut out a couple times. I don't think I lost any positions because YouTube had strangely buffered itself.
Nice.
Interesting.
Usually YouTube is horrible and doesn't know how to perform well, and also tries to kill off all of its viewership. So, I mean, Weird that it's working now.
It's a corporation, much like Wargaming, that doesn't seem to know its own audience.
It does not.
This is turning into quite an unexpected but tight race between
It's
Clyde
turning.
Britton and Mike
It's like
Stockmill.
we got a pretty solid possible three-way battle here for the lead. Again, depending on where Vega is pace-wise.
Well, and then even when they do end up, then when one or both of Stockmill Britton combo ends up hitting, that'll introduce a whole mess of new variables, potentially, like you said, Vega. But then Max Simons gets to get in there and start messing stuff up.
All right, we got pit. Clyde Britton's in the pit.
Pits. Britton has had enough. He's taking his pit, and
Simons is in the pit too.
Yeah, Simons is in the pit, and he's also
Simon got
overtaken.
He got overtaken by a car that was lapped. That is a little embarrassing.
I think that's when you draw the line, and like I said, like I've been saying, I probably would have done that a long time ago. So it's
yeah, I cannot condone Simons' strategy, because Britton we'll have to see, because we're missing some information that they have.
In your channel,
but Simons
Bye,
was definitely one who should have hit the pits a while ago.
Yeah. So we'll see where that ends up taking him. Britton and Simons are probably going to exit the pits about the same, depending on their pit strategy. I imagine Simons is probably going to take tires. I don't know, though, and I can't say for Britton. It would be pretty interesting. He knows he's got pace on Stoffmeal, but again, there's the question of Vega. So we'll have to see what. Well, we won't get to see that, but I guess we can tell.
Unfortunately, that's the great question: is what is Vega doing?
So Simons is past Britton, but Britton is back past. So what does that mean?
I'm gonna guess that Simons has a higher up on the grid pit lane, and then Britton got out of the pits and passed him.
Yeah, that makes sense. We'll have to see where they come out in relation to each other, because Simons was the length of the front straight behind Britton, if I had to guess.
Well, the big question is still Vega.
Well, yes, but he hasn't pit yet.
Vega did pit. He was in the lead and pitted from.
Oh, you're right. He was behind. My bad. I got backwards. Dobmill seems confident on his tire and fuel loadout. We'll see whoever that is back there, green car.
So this is the pit lane here that Stoffmill's passed. So they are out of the pits. And Britton is in second place. Simmons is in third. So Vega, who pitted early, apparently hasn't been putting the lap times in needed to make a play for the lead.
Yeah, however far back he is, he's got some work to do. Looks like the minimum number we've been seeing is about 10 seconds. I don't know if that's accurate, but
I know it's so frustrating when we're dealing with this kind of stuff. With the timing glitch.
If I see 10, so I'm gonna assume that's the lowest number because it kind of oscillates, but it doesn't go below 10. So I'll assume that
what we really need is the camera to find Vega and give us a visual look at where he is.
Race Room's director tool is fantastic, but obviously it's not perfect. I actually really like the recording tool as well, or the overlay tool.
Spectator, I believe.
Yeah, spectator tool. There we go. I have no words. It'd be nice to even just have a picture of the track with all the numbers on it or something.
You can pop it up. It's just unfortunate.
Well, yeah.
You don't want it. It takes up the whole screen, and also tends to make it a bit clunky. So you want to use it and then take it away. But of course, since this is just auto director, no one's supervising the recording, unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly. Stoffmeal again, foregoing his pit.
I'm going to trust Stoffmill, and to be honest, it was shown that Britton and Simmons both came out ahead of Vega. That the pace is not too bad.
Yeah.
Now the only question now is the gap to Clyde Britton randomly closing? Because if Britton took new tires and is starting to light it up, then he's got a pit to cover on Britton.
Yeah. And Britton, as he's shown, Britton can punch above his weight class, so to speak.
Finally getting a look at something else. This is Fran Machuca. If this is a battle for position, that's John Barker ahead of him.
It looks like it. Machuca on the timing sheet, again, who knows, is only 4 seconds, so I'm inclined to believe that is Barker ahead of him.
I believe that is the case.
Would be for
Barker's upside down.
Barker is not upside down anymore. He was never upside down. He just barrel rolled it.
he got better.
It was Martin who was upside down.
Yeah. We've had a couple of cars upside down. Who was the other one? I don't remember.
So, Fran Machuca versus John Barker. No idea what the pit stop scenarios here are. I think Barker is pitted, and I think he took new tires. Machuca was definitely in the pits to serve a drive-through. Otherwise, he would have been DQ'd by now.
Stop me coming up on a back marker.
You're going to get Dairy Queen.
I'm going to guess Toby Howard, but it could also be Alex Loeffler.
I think it might be Loeffler. I don't see the well, no, that's probably Howard. He's losing a bunch of time. I wonder, but I didn't see the grid pattern. Oh well, doesn't really matter. Anyway, who is this? Machuca. Back looking at Machuca.
And in theory, John Barker.
Yes. Who knows? It's probably a ghost. Is that a real car? We may never know.
Flashing of the headlights. I'm not really sure what that would be for.
Maybe he missed the button, or missed and hit the button.
Could be.
I know.
I was going to say, he's definitely not lapping that green car, because there is no green car that he would be lapping.
Yes, certainly. It could just be saying hi, I don't know. Yeah. Race car drivers are a weird breed.
Yes. Yes,
they see button, they press button. I know. I just noticed those two arrows. Have those been on that car the whole time? Am I really blind?
Yes, you are a little blind.
All right, sounds good. Oh, Machuca
makes him a sergeant, right?
Some great time on Barker. He looks to be down a few seconds from the last time we saw him, maybe a second actually. So this might end up being pretty tight. And with in mind that Barker was able to get past Simmons. Again, whether or not that was due to him having fresher tires or what, we don't know. But that might actually throw some other variables into the mix a little bit too, because now, well, never mind. I saw Verstappen's timer go down, or the timer go down hugely, and then it went back up, so never mind then.
Yeah, I don't think either of these guys are in play for anything beyond the 6th place that they are currently scrapping over. But I could be wrong.
we may never know. Well, actually, we will at the end of the race. Ooh, Machuca going a little wide. Not a huge deal, but he is losing a little bit of time. Let's look at Stop Mill again.
Still no pit stop for Stop Mill.
Is he going to try to go all the way? That'll be interesting. No, he can't, because isn't it a required pit stop?
There's no required pit stop. It's just you got to save fuel. And I mean, I guess that's the other thing. If he thinks he can save fuel and just not pit, I mean, that would be a win.
Oh, okay. I thought we had like an unofficial required pit stop.
No. There is no mandatory pit stop. Only one person has done the Enduro race without pitting. But I mean, if there's someone who might be able to do the calculations of fuel and figure out how much to save, it might be Mike Stockmill.
I was going to say, because Jürgen Walby did the whole thing?
No, it was Wayne Hutchinson.
No, my bad.
Mercedes himself. Well, that could be interesting. That would also potentially explain why Stockmill has been off pace a bit. This basically
that could be another. Yeah, if he was saving fuel from like relatively early on and just kind of sitting in 5th place, that would be a thing. You never know what Mike Stockmill might invent as a challenge for himself.
Yeah.
Might be determined to join Wayne Hutchinson in the I don't need to pit Hall of Fame.
ain't nobody got time for that. Oh,
Machuca is getting real close to John Barker.
Him and Barker getting real friendly.
So you don't need to stop for no gas if you just put the clutch in every time you go downhill. With that Mexican overdrive.
Oh, contact.
A little bit of touchy. Oh, it looks like he was...
Meantime, back to Mike Stockmill and the continual mystery. Will he pit?
Yep. As a bit of an aside, well, it appears that Machuca's fallen back a little bit. I'm excited to be entering the 3D Speed Series.
Yeah, welcome aboard.
Thank you, thank you. I'm excited. I got I got one of my friends, Eric Tobin. He got me. He begged and pleaded, and I not wanting to disappoint, got him in. No, I'm just kidding. It was mostly my chick.
That
So
is, Ayrton Tobin is one of the more interesting scenarios of like ESR joinership because I swear I bugged him like a ton because he would always come into our servers when he was not a member, and
oh
like you see familiar names and like it's
yep
like okay,
yep.
clearly our times kind of work for you. Would you like to come over to ESR and here's the Discord link or whatever, and like for months nothing, and then just randomly one day Brandon Powell showed up and he's like, yeah, I got these two guys with me, and I'm like, Ayrton Tobin,
I know you.
I've been
You're
like
that
trying to
bastard
recruit
who's
you for like a long time.
yeah. Well, it's funny story about that. We were actually joined the race department U.S. weekly series on Tuesdays together, and that was before I got my most recent job. And so we were doing that on Tuesdays. That's actually where we met Brandon Powell and Dan Bach and some of those other guys in there, and they were really cool guys, and they were really friendly. But that was more of a, sort of definitely more of a casual kind of just, got doing a race every Tuesday or whatever every so often. And then Dan actually got Tobin and Powell and tried to get me involved in ESR from the beginning, just because like, hey, this is another thing, it's a little more serious. And then Dan and Brandon are pretty good drivers, and Ayrton's also pretty good. Maybe a little more consistent than Brandon, but and they joined you guys, and that was probably a couple months. And they actually first invited me, but I'd recently got my new job, and so my time availability went way down. But
I can understand that.
yeah. But then then he's kind of got me involved in this commentary thing just because I was watching some races, like, that'd be kind of fun, and you guys put out that bid for commentators, and long story short, here we are. Kind of one thing I really love about Race Room, without wishing to ramble too much longer, is just while it is kind of small, which might be not as good for viewership, it does kind of make the community a little more tight knit. You kind of, like you say, you kind of learn the names of people that you keep kind of seeing over and over again, and maybe make some friends, and maybe see a dev along the way. And I really enjoy that. It's kind of homely.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the Sector 3 would probably rather have more people. But,
not really sure why Race Room has not quite caught the level of popularity of some other sims, to be honest. I mean, I understand there are some gripes, some limitations to it, but
well,
I don't know. Never really figured out the grand reason.
well, I've been I love Race Room. It's been my favorite sim since, God, probably since 2013. I want to say, no, not 13. Well, 2014, but I've had it for forever. And I mean, it's never quite had the visual flair of, say, Project Cars or even Assetto Corsa, but my eyes, it's probably one of the most perfect packages. Just because you can get, there's
especially with the physics now becoming much better, like the GT3s getting the new physics, the suspension damage, the more detailed setups and so on. So it's definitely heading in the right direction.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a biased party, certainly, so take whatever I say with a grain of salt if you wish. But I've always thought of, and especially the sounds, but even the physics and the handling, I've thought of Race Room as even a step above even Assetto Corsa. I've never been a fan of Assetto's handling. Everything feels just a little bit on the floaty side, and I can't, obviously I've never driven a GT3 car or anything like that before. But I've always thought Race Room as and then Project Cars is nowhere to be found in this list.
That is the devil.
Yeah. Well, it's a good game, and it's, I mean, if you're not as serious about it, it's definitely fun. One thing that I can never understand what they don't do is
no, never mind. Fran overshot that pretty bad.
Yeah. Why don't games like Race Room have like street cars? I can see, it's not as competitive.
Possibly a lack of desire.
That's true. that makes
Could
sense.
also be licensing problems. Obviously, are always the devil.
Yeah.
To be honest, like why are certain cars missing from the GT3 selection? Well,
Yeah.
because they can't get the license.
Yeah. And I can't even claim to begin to know how licensing works. So, but it seems like if they had this Audi TT Rs Cup, that they would also be able to have a regular Audi TT, perhaps. I don't know.
Well, they more or less do with the Audi TT Cup cars, which are basically just Audi TTs outfitted with a push to pass.
I mean, yeah, but even like the racing, suspension and
a little bit over aggressive.
Barker going way wide, getting on the gravel even.
Machuca is through, and I don't think Barker will have anything to come back at him.
Barker's
as he flashes
not happy.
Headlights.
He looks like he thinks that Machuca.
Maybe there was a nudge that we did not see.
Yeah, I could see that being possible, but I guess we just won't know that until maybe later.
John Barker is to some degrees a bit of an overly honorable driver to his own detriment. He'll express displeasure and then not report it to the stewards. So I don't know. But I don't think he has anything to fight back because I think he was only really ahead of Fran because Fran had that drive-through.
Yeah.
So the continual mystery of Mike Stockmill, is he... I mean, we're at 7 minutes left.
Why?
Like,
yeah,
Jesus
what
Christ.
else is he going to do?
He will pit with 40 seconds left.
I think he's going to try and go all the way. I don't see any advantage in holding it up.
At this point, it's a zero pit stopper. The only thing that he would pit is if his fuel mileage turns out to be incorrectly calculated. Like if he gets to like right at the end and just goes, "Oh, there is really no way I can make this work."
Yeah. Well, I mean, it wouldn't be super horrible. I mean, it would probably be to his detriment slightly, but not a huge amount. Just because,
I mean, he's under no pressure because the two cars nearest to him are these two, Machuca and Barker, who are both lapped. So,
yeah.
Because they are ahead of the second place car of Clyde Britton, and we can't see Clyde Britton. So,
at the same time, I can't foresee Stockmill wanting to pit, but I also can't foresee him not wanting to pit. It's kind of.
I mean, at this point, it's definitely he's going for the zero pit. Like
that's true.
That is 100% what Mike Stockmill is trying to do. The only way he's going to pit is if he realizes at the 11th hour, oh shit, this is not going to work.
Yeah. Well, he's got a little bit of time before that happens. It'd be nice if we had a little more information on screen to just see, what their fuel is and stuff like that. Oh well. Meanwhile, Martin Edmonds tracking down. Well, that's actually not. Is that Loeffler?
That could be Loeffler. That is the livery.
I keep forgetting that him and Howard have the same livery.
Yeah, sadly, there's a lot of duplicate liveries because there's not that many different liveries in the Audis, and our other problem is there have been so many drivers who have booked for the Enduro series and then haven't shown up that just by happenstance, some of the guys that do show up have, some either very related liveries or the exact same one.
Shout out to the 2015 Audi TT Rs. So much prettier than the newer ones. Oh my gosh. My eyes, the 2015 is the pinnacle of Audi design. In my opinion, this even looks better than the R8 of the same era, although not much. Shout out to whoever designed
the R8's another one that's been getting uglier, I think, with each
I think they're all getting uglier. I don't understand what they're doing with the dang thing. Personally, and again, it's a preference, I think this 2015 Audi TT Rs is the prettiest car Audi has ever made. Obviously subjective, but
I mean, it's a fair pick.
The lines are just so clean.
It's a very nice looking car. Yeah, I don't know. Audi's kind of in a weird place where like Audi was like my jam. It was like my brand. I'm like, these are sexy cars. These are excellent. They're honestly really good bang for buck as well generally.
Yeah.
But the more recent additions, like both from a racing and even street car standpoint, have been
Martin Edmonds
going
nice
for it against Alex
Loeffler.
So that confirms that is indeed Loeffler.
Yep. Hey, we finally got that information. And looks like, yeah, he's closing the door. I don't think Loeffler's going to be able to get enough run. That's the problem with these front-wheel drive cars. One of the many problems, in my opinion, of course, is that even, yes, running out and out as your racing line is still most effective, but trying to use a delayed apex as a method of getting, a run on someone doesn't really work in these because they kind of lose power under heavy turning. So, well, of course they don't lose power, but they're able to get less of it to the ground. So it becomes a little bit harder to.
As good.
Yeah, it becomes harder to grab back that spot if you lose one. And as we can see that,
That was a key overtake because Edmonds and Loeffler are actually the two guys who are battling up in the really actually I think for the title, because of course the Enduro series is a year-long series, and as a result, some of the top guys like Stopmill, Britton, Max Simmons, Carl Vega, Christopher Streppen, those kind of guys have not actually been around for a number of the races. So it's the guys who were there on day one, and Edmonds and Loeffler have actually been two of the leaders.
I move that we make it a decade-long series.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
120 rounds.
Yep.
I think I'm gonna go with no on that one.
I'm not really sure I'd be down with that.
maybe I'll have
driver retention's already a problem. I mean,
well, I'll start the race and then I'll have a kid and let him continue.
I said John Barker wouldn't have anything for Fran Machuca. He's reeling him back in, actually.
Yeah,
so.
he's clinging on.
I sold Mr. Barker a little bit short.
How dare you? You were barking up the wrong tree.
Meantime, Mike Stopmill continuing his journey of the no pit stop variety.
You can do it!
Still not breaking into the 141 threes, but that's kind of expected. Who's that in the background? That's probably Howard.
That's the only one that I think makes sense.
Yeah.
Sadly.
Cool.
Tobias the Duck, Howard.
Kind of amazing that everyone's still in the lead lap, even after this hour.
Maybe Butler. No, because these guys are lapped. Remember, so he's lapped up to at least 6th place.
Oh, whoops, never mind. I just looked at the timing sheet and didn't see any laps.
It's the relevant, so you're not gonna see, unless you lap the guy directly behind you. You're not gonna. It's not gonna show the lap problem. I guess it could also be Butler in theory, but that's Toby Howard getting
that's
out of the
Howard.
way there. Yeah. Oh,
You got it, Toby.
That might be why Toby's front is kind of fucked up.
Yeah, doesn't look too good. But yeah, anyway, back on the note of Audis, Stopmill did pit. Is that wait?
I think he did.
Was that his pitting?
I think he did.
Maybe he ran out of gas.
He's come out behind. That's Butler, I think.
That's Butler. Yeah.
So still in the lead.
I don't know what happened there. It looks like I'll have to rewind and look at that because it I'm not sure.
Again, the lack of timing data is killing us.
Yeah, well, what are you gonna do?
I'm gonna demand that we are gonna have to turn mandatory pit stops on this because the commentary is just so problematic right now.
Yeah, exactly.
I need the
It
pit.
looked like it came from
I
the
need
pit
at
lane,
least the pit stop guide. It looked like he was coming out of the pits, but that could have just been a weird camera angle.
Yeah, he could have just gone wide or something. No, he can't have pitted. There's too much space between him and Britton. Unless Britton had
we didn't know how far he was ahead of Britton is the problem.
He just pitted so hard you have no idea.
Even if it's like, even if it's half, say, there's no,
No, I can't imagine he pitted because at the very least, one would think Britton would be in the shot.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that is.
Oh, that must be Howard.
Carol
maybe?
Vega. Could be Loeffler as well.
A good point.
I think it's Loeffler because the front end doesn't look as messed up.
Yeah, Loeffler is also losing good amount of time.
Yeah, so I think that was Alex Loeffler having a spin.
All right, so that is checkered flag.
Over. Checkered flag is out. Coming across the line, John Barker and
Hey.
Fran Machuca with the celebratory flashing headlights.
little twerking going on. Little does anyone know that TT doesn't stand for Tourist Trophy, it stands for Twerk Twerk. So,
Here comes Clyde Britton, a well-fought second place, I must say.
yeah, very good. He probably he's trying to spin out or no? Okay. Yeah, he put up a really good fight. He had a really good run for the lead too.
Carol Vega, who made that early pit stop, and it definitely did not pan out because not only is he back in third place, but it's not even close to Clyde Britton.
By a huge margin, yeah. I wonder if he had some problems later on that that might have influenced him. Maybe got caught up in a little scuffle or something.
Could be. Unfortunately, we were not really apprised of the action there. There is that's Alex Loeffler. Yeah, it was definitely Loeffler who spun out.
Oh, Christopher Streppin.
Streppinoff, yeah.
This guy exists. Forgot about him.
This guy still exists. We haven't seen him since he got that drive-thru.
Yeah. How's it going, buddy? How's your race? In 5th place? That's not too bad.
At one point fighting for the lead and ends up in 5th.
Yeah. Oh, nice sweet drift.
And then Machuca's already done so. We should get some results here and finally get a hand on, like, how big the gaps were.
3.5 feet.
That'd be ideal.
So Stop Mill won by 33.5 seconds over
So he
Clyde
definitely did
Britton.
not pit.
And, whoa, man, Vega did not work out. He ended up over 30 seconds behind Clyde Britton. Max Simmons must have had a mistake at some point because he was running in third ahead of Vega.
Something
ended up behind him.
Something must have happened with Verstappen too, because I'm looking at the best lap, 139.8. That is
well.
blistering.
Verstappen also had a drive-through penalty on top of everything, but he also made some mistakes.
Yeah, he must have made some pretty bad mistakes.
Machuca, Barker, Edmonds, Loeffler, and Butler all... Hey, you know what? James Butler, Academy driver, managed to finish just one lap down on Stop Mill after 90 minutes. It's not bad.
Yeah, not bad at all.
And Toby Howard and the unfortunately DQ'd Douglas DeGroot.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta make do with what you have.
All right, let's give a quick look at the standings because that was the final endurance round of 2019. And we will have a champion and so on. I think we actually had a champion beforehand, but let's just give the final numbers here.
I will take the championship. Thank you.
ESR Enduro 2019. Your winner in the championship was Mike Stopmill. So I was, despite coming in late, Stopmill still takes it home. 700 points to Fran Machuca's 515. Martin Edmonds on 450. Travis Wallace on 370, as well as Zarai, the Gunrunner, Garunian. John Barker is your Division 2 champion. Carl Vega, Alex Loeffler, Ariel Zatoni, James Butler rounding off the top 10. Division 3 champion was Johnny the Beach. Freshly squeezed trophy down in 15th place. And
all right,
gotta know, I'm pulling up the log file here. Did like Stop Mill pit like really early, and we just because of the timing glitch had no idea?
I don't think so, because he was something seconds ahead, and his laps were not, they're consistent, but they weren't blistering by any stretch of the imagination. So I'm just tempted to say he just conserved and didn't pit.
All right, so I've got the pit in laps here. Alex Loeffler pitted once, Vega twice, Verstappen twice. They had drive-throughs. Clyde Britton once, Douglas DeGroot twice, Fran Machuca twice, James Butler twice, Barker once, Edmonds twice, Simmons once, Toby Howard a couple of times. Nope, he did not pit. He did not pit.
Oh,
Mike Stoffmill joins the Hall of Fame.
Yes. What recognition must go to him.
Mm-hmm.
You would get a firm, manly internet
His
handshake.
fastest lap was only a 41.4. The best laps of the cars around him, 40.4 for Britain, 40.6 for Vega, 40.7 for Siemens, 39.8 for Verstappen, and heck, even Fran Machuca, 41.2, had a faster lap than Stockmill.
Yeah. So, I guess he must have just been... either he was not comfortable with the car and it ended up working to his advantage, or he was being in mega sip mode.
He
for
had
the whole
it
race.
had to be mega sip mode. There was some fuel saving going on. Should be mentioned, despite the fuel saving, his deviation was only 0.33, which was the best in the field.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
Mike Stockmill putting on a masterclass of tactical ability on this one.
Yeah, no kidding.
So, anyways, that's the endurance series. We've got it all caught up now for you. And, gentlemen, anything you'd like to add to finish off with?
Cucumber better pickle.
I mean, that's a solid answer.
That's something to add. Yeah. I'd just like to say thanks for sticking with us through 2019, and hope we can make 2020 just as good, if not better.
Aiming for better. We got big plans. We've got the ESR 1 series coming. That's gonna be great. It's gonna be a multi-class affair. It's gonna be fun.
I think you should have trophy trucks and Audis at the same
If
time.
we could find a game with trophy trucks, we would.
Well, what's the one where the trucks can lean all the way back over on their rear tire and shit like that going around the corner?
That's the fucking Robbie Gordon monster truck stadium trucks.
Yeah, those stadium trucks.
Trucks.
There you
Stadium
go. We need those. That's my jam. When they have jumps and shit. Yeah.
I saw those at Portland International Raceway last summer, and the summer before that, or no, last summer.
They tend to crack them out at Race of Champions every once in a while.
It's freaking nuts. Like, I highly recommend it. We gotta figure out a way to do that.
All right. On that exciting note, have a good 2020, everybody.
Yeah.